All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Constructing Future. Today, I have Annette Sosa here. It's a pleasure to having you here. Thank you for joining. And she is the owner, correct, of this
Yes.
beautiful home construction company.
Yes. I'm currently consulting. And once my license comes in, I just passed all of my general contractor licensing exams and submitted my application. So in the next
Congratulations.
month or so, thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited. In the next month or so, I'll then be qualifying my business and we'll be offering construction services, full general contractor services.
Amazing. So just bring you to the start of a new journey in construction. I see a little bit about yourself. You were a project manager before, so a long time project manager, a lot of experience in that side. So right now becoming a business owner.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about yourself and your story and the past, and then we're gonna go a little bit more about this new fresh experience that you're gonna have right now.
Great, thank you. So I started in construction back in about 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, I worked in banking for 5 years. Commercial lending was the where I ended up, and in the 2008, 2010 era, with the market crash, I ended up switching to different career, which led me to construction. I started off as a receptionist in a low voltage subcontractor. And I grew from there. I quickly realized that I loved project management. I was given the opportunity to assist project managers and have special projects to work on. And I had the taste of project management. I was like, this is what I want to do. And
Mm-hmm.
that led me to working with general contractors, a few different well-known general contractors in South Florida. And I gained my experience. And I was lucky during COVID, went back to school and got my associates in construction management. And then my next step was I'm going to get my license. So I've been working towards doing so. And I've been blessed. I've been lucky along the way to meet many different individuals, different people who have mentored me and taught me and given me the opportunities to grow and learn and be a part of their team. And that's why now I'm here today. And I'm very excited to start this new venture and start this new business and really show South Florida what I can do in the construction world.
Nice. I love it. I love it. I'm excited for you, and I see definitely the excitement that you have. So, what was the biggest things that say, okay, no more working for somebody else, it's time to do it for my own?
I started to realize that the passion that I had was bigger than just being a project manager. I
Mhm.
was estimating, I was helping with the business development, with meeting with the clients and gaining that business. So it's very important to me to make that next step. I also felt that I had something, I had a potential that was greater than just being limited to managing a couple projects here and there. I want to
Nice.
make a big impact. So that's why I decided I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to see how I can push myself and see what I can develop and create here.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so now as a fresh start, you're gonna get the license in a few weeks, I'm assuming, or something like that. So now,
Mhm.
what would be your first step? What are you gonna do for actually starting this company and taking up from the ground? Because it's a big step and it's a very important one that eh, it's hard because I've been there, so I can tell you a little bit more about myself. But um, it's hard is a very first step. So what you gonna do right now to actually make yourself known and get yourself the first project, which is the golden the golden goose, the
Yes.
first one.
Yes. So I have been consulting, as I had mentioned a little bit ago. So I've been consulting, and the my current client, she has a project coming up in first quarter of 2026, and she's already let me know she's very happy with what I've brought to the table and the experience and the expertise that I have. And she's
Hmm.
already brought me in the loop. And then once they have their drawings, I'll be commencing with that project. It's a residential renovation,
Hmm.
about $1 million renovation. So it's a great first project under my
Hmm.
license that I'll be taking care of. As
Mm-hmm.
far as from now until that point, I am a member of the National Association of Women in
Mm-hmm.
Construction. We do have our meeting this year, our annual board meeting, and there's a conference. So I've been networking. I've been going out, meeting different people, talking to my old mentors, meeting with subcontractors, just really networking, really putting myself out there, trying to make new connections and also foster the ones that I already do have. So by doing that, I've been able to make that known. Hey, I'm getting my license. This is what's coming up next for me. I'm very excited. And another opportunity, I may be assisting with teaching at the school that I went to get my training for my GC exams. They've already presented me with the opportunity to do that. And I think that's a great way to give back and also put my name out there and help other students pass the exams, because I think it's very tricky. It's very hard to test. But I think that with the tricks and the tips that I've learned along the way, I can also provide that help to other students. And I think that's another way for me to make more connections in the industry.
Nice. So one part that I got, and I feel is the right way, is make yourself known. No matter what, just speak about anybody and everybody about what you're about to do it and what you currently do it, and you never know who you come across your road that is gonna say, "Hey, I need some help," or "I know somebody that needs some help." Is that correct?
Absolutely. Maintaining the relationships, not just with clients, but with other contractors, with architects, designers, even my connections from when I worked in the commercial lending industry. You're going to always have people that are going to have your back, that know the type of work that you do and the expertise that you bring and the professionalism. So all of those are very important, critical parts of maintaining relationships and getting your name out there.
Nice. So that's on the organic side, of course. You're just starting, so of course, like the funds and when you start and everything is gonna be a little bit limited. But then eventually, you planning to spend on any paid marketing and advertising, on how you planning to go on that route as well.
Absolutely. Marketing and advertising are very important. I've been in connections with different individuals who will likely be able to assist me with making that step. And also, there are opportunities for investors, which is something I've also been considering and exploring. But marketing myself and putting my name out there is important. So I started a website. It's being worked on currently, but that will get much better once I put more efforts into it. And networking events, I think, will also help with that marketability. Going to different events, volunteering. I do volunteer a lot of time at my daughter's school, at
Mhm.
church, at different events, at different associations and organizations, and going to those meetings and making myself known that way. I'm more so of that, like, let me go in person, let me talk to you in person. And then I would like to see how the opportunities are for future marketing and growth, because that would be essential and expanding my business.
Love it that. And I want to ask you, this is a personal question, why you call your company This Beautiful Home? Where it comes from?
It is something it's a name that I've always liked. I actually bought the domain name like six years ago or so. I fell in love with the idea. I love residential construction. A lot of my experience is in luxury residential, really helping people make their home beautiful. And that personal touch has always been
Mhm.
important to me. I love historic as well, historic preservation. It's something that I've done a lot of homes in Coral Gables and in the Miami Beach area, and fostering and making sure that we keep that beauty of those homes and the historic qualities, those charming qualities that homes have, and meeting my clients and talking to them and knowing their personal stories with their homes has always been very nice for me. So I enjoy residential. I do also other types, offices and retail, but making the point of my passion is residential, making a house a home, not just building a structure, but bringing all the facets of a home to it, and bringing the client's particular desires for their home to that would be, that's a unique part of construction. Not just, you build it, but you also make it that home for someone. So a beautiful home is something that everybody wants and everyone desires. So that's why I chose the name This Beautiful Home.
That's great. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's the name is very something that needs to be coming out from the inside, something that you experience it, you feel it's what this is about, So I love that. So let's talk a little bit more about project management. So you have a lot of experience, project manager. You also study. What's the biggest challenge that you see in the residential contractor world, on the project management side, on the production side, that most of the people like undervalued or like underestimate, I would say?
So one of the biggest challenges in doing residential is the fact that it is very personal with the client. So you need to make sure you realize that when doing commercial projects, it's not personal. It's money. It's how much money they can make, how quick you can do the project. But when it becomes a residential project, the challenge really is making sure you hear your clients and you deliver what they're expecting. So making the expectations clear from the beginning, giving a real schedule is important because they want to move into their home. And if you say, hey, I'm going to finish this house in a year, you better be finishing that house in a year. So I think at the very beginning of the project, when the plans are in your hands and you're estimating the job, when you tell them, hey, I think it's going to take X amount of time, you're coming from a experienced place. And what I like to do is I definitely provide a long lead time list to the client and a short, not essentially a preliminary schedule, which shows this is why and how I came to this amount of time for your project duration. Because there's been early in my career when I was an assistant project manager, I saw where, we make these promises to a client and then they don't have a place to live. And, they're getting stressed, they're getting frustrated. They made plans for events in their home or moving in and their children starting school. So the biggest challenge essentially in residential for me when I started was making sure that I came up with a good, solid schedule. And now I love scheduling. I'm very detailed in my schedule. I update my schedule constantly as I get information from subcontractors or lead times or information that might change. Like if there's a small change, they may not think is a big deal, but it may impact various trades and make it delayed. So having that communication with respect to time is so essential, and letting them know realistically when they will be moving in and when we'll anticipate getting certain materials, or if there's issues and delay in manufacturing or production. Just communication with them is so critical, and constantly updating that schedule and bringing it up in the meetings. That to me was one of the challenges I definitely overcame. I love scheduling. I love making sure that the client is communicated with respect to time. So that's one thing I would recommend as a early project manager is learn your schedule, learn Microsoft projects, make sure you're
You use
understanding.
Microsoft Project right now to run
Yes.
your project?
Yes, I do. I use Microsoft projects on my schedules. I know there's other tools. I've used a few others, but Microsoft projects is the one that I always go to. It's very easy, at least for me, to use, and very clear, and it has a lot of options where you can add different columns that give like ownership responsibilities. Like I can assign tasks to different people, different resources, and then it ties in and it just updates as you update the different tasks, and it's just a great tool. I really enjoy using it.
Love it. I suggest you also to look at it. By the way, I'm not sponsoring this, but I suggest you to look into JobThread. It's called. It's a very, very great tool as a project manager, and is also having the financial ability to do billing, invoicing, everything inside of that. And it's not that costly like Buildertrend or Procore or stuff like that. So I really
Great.
love it. I have it for my clients, and they enjoy it. They enjoy it.
I'll definitely look into it. I was leaning towards Procore since that's one of the leading in the industry, and I've used it so many times. But I'm definitely open to trying that product.
Yeah, Procore is very high on cost. Okay,
It is
and it's also very complicated. Once you start like onboarding all the project manager, other people into your team, you want something that is simple. Um, simplicity and efficiency is what you want, especially at the start. Then you can always like create your own when like you making like ton of money and you have a big team, whatever. But at the beginning, like you need something that is efficient and simple. So you say Microsoft project, I seen other people doing Microsoft project. The only things that it doesn't have integration on the financial side. That's something that it's important for me to keep everything in the same in one spot, and that one also have communication, messages, all of those capability and takeoff ability as well. So it's all in one
absolutely.
platform. Yeah.
That's
So
great. That's great because they currently use different software and different platforms for the different functions. So to have them all in one place would be very useful
yeah,
and very efficient. Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, no, anytime. We are here to share and get the knowledge. So the whole idea of this podcast is actually to share information of other construction owners, that they are in different stage of their business. That's why I'm always very like happy to have different people in different stage, because I feel like everybody should always learn from other people. And even if you are in a stage like you at the beginning, like you always gonna teach something to somebody that just want to start, that has been doing project management for years and he wants to start his own business. And you tell them, hey, this is the right time to do it. Just take your steps and just like take a leap of faith, because it's a big leap of faith, and just do it. Love
Definitely.
that.
It was really scary. It's something I've wanted to do for many years. I kept saying, I'm going to do it. I'm going to start my business. I'm going to jump out and take that leap of faith. And it's really fear. That's all that was holding me back. It's not a matter of my skills or my lack of knowledge or how do I get business? Because you think of all those things and you start to doubt yourself. But really, in the end of the day, taking the leap is the first step. You know,
Hmm.
it took me a while. I made sure I had savings to float me, because when you start a business, you need to make sure you have the funds available for you to survive in your life, but also finance your business and make sure you have capital available to use. So the leap of faith that you mentioned is definitely something that you need to just do it. You need to just take that step, make that jump. If you feel like it's something that's been pulling at your heart and something that's been something that you want to do for a very long time, because a lot of times you want to wait for the perfect opportunity, the perfect time, the perfect moment, and there is none. It's
Yeah.
just trust yourself, trust your experience, knowing that you're going to make it, and just work hard, and don't forget why you started. And that's why I've been reminding myself, hey, there's a reason why you're doing this. There's a purpose behind it. You have that passion. It's something that you really want. So you go for it. And I'm glad that I
That's
have done so.
that's so true. So true. And thank you for sharing that. I really love it.
Thank you.
So now I have a question that I ask to all of my people that are on the podcast, and the question is the following: what does this beautiful home different that everybody has around your industry, every other construction company, that nobody does something like you do?
That's a really good question. I think it does come down to my individual passion. Everyone has their individual passion that they bring to the table. And mine is that dream of being able to have that home, have a beautiful home. I grew up in a not so safe environment, in a not secure environment. I didn't have a stable home. And that was always something that I wanted to do. I wanted to give to myself, give to my family, give to my daughter. And not only for me, but for future people, for anyone else in this world, because having a home and having that security is so important. So that sense of reminder from my childhood, I think, is what brings that passion and that desire to deliver a perfect house for my clients, a perfect home for them to raise their families. And I think that kind of sets me apart, where I care a lot and it's very personal to me. And that's why I decided to pursue residential specifically in my career and in my company.
I love it. I think like you actually give an answer even more deeper than when I ask you why the name of the company. You went one level deeper, and that should be your story. So
Thank you.
I wanna like I'm gonna give you back this recording. I want you to listen to this particular piece, cut it off, and use it every time you're gonna go and pitch to a new client and say this is what I do it, and you use it into your story, and your presentation is gonna be so powerful. I'm telling
Thank you so much.
you. Yeah.
It's typically not something that I do share, but I feel, you're asking the right questions and you're getting the right answers.
Yeah, I know. I got almost like goosebump and listening to you when you say I didn't have like my my younger me didn't have a stable place where to stay, and this is why I want to give it back to the people. For me, it's like wow, that's amazing. That's a real why.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, we have about like 10 minutes, and then we're gonna wrap it up the episode. Do you have any question for me on that? Anything that you wanna know?
Yes. How did you get started in construction?
That's a great question. So actually, I originate from Italy, and back there, when I was in high school, in the summertime, I wasn't really big into computer stuff like that. So the only thing that really was getting into me was like a little bit of construction. So I start working, like I built my house in the mountain myself. I was a helper, I did, but with my hands, and then when I finished high school, I went and I started working as electrician. So I learned a lot about that trade and the skills to be an electrician, and I'm a pretty quick learner. So I become pretty good at it. I did it for like 3-4 years, and then actually after that, I left. I left Italy. I left my country, and then I came here, and I continue on that pace. My first project was actually a house on Miami Beach, and I did the whole electrical part of the house, and it was like wow, okay. It's great. And then after that, I continue my journey. I learned that you cannot, if you want to scale a company or grow a company, you cannot work with your hands. That was a big for me. You need to actually hire people and manage people and become a leader. So it took me pretty some like 2 or 3 years, to really understand that. Um, but with my previous company, we took it from we were like, I don't know, like around $2-3 million when I joined it, and then last year we were over a figure on the business, so 15-20 people in the office. It was a big change, in the company side, and then um, different than you. I'm not very passionate about the project itself and the actual houses. I'm more passionate about the people, to help people build their businesses. So this is why what I do right now. I consult construction companies and I help them grow and scale. We also do exit planning strategy, if they want to exit the company or retire. That's another plans that you have in place. And we also do acquisition on construction services and construction companies. So
That's amazing. I think it's so interesting how and important to talk about how you started right out of high school. And at least here in the United States, at least where I grew up, it wasn't really something that was talked about. It was like you're going to college, and I did that. I started right away. I went out into college. I didn't really have any exposure to construction or know anything about it, but the trades are so important, and sharing that information with the youth is so critical. And not only that, moving from trades and, like you said, working with your hands was something you realize, like, I can't grow that much doing that because you're limited. And expanding to be able to mentor other people, teach other people and help other people grow their business shows how much you've grown and how much you've developed, not only yourself, but many other people's businesses. So that's very, very interesting, and it's very admirable.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was a definitely a journey. I've been in here for like more than 10 years right now, in Miami. So I went through a lot, and a lot of personal improvement and a lot of mentoring, like you say, and a lot of other peoples that they taught me that what I was thinking or doing, um, they already went through, and there is a better way to doing it. So that's why it's so important, like you say, listening, because you're always gonna learn. If you think you know already everything, you're never gonna get nowhere.
That's so true. You don't know everything. And it's important for people to realize that you're never going to know everything in construction. There's just so much information. There's so much in there, involvement. So you need to understand that you can learn and feed off of other people, and mentorship, like you said, is important. I had great mentors in my career, and I've been able to train up my assistants or my interns to help them become project managers. And that to me it felt great to be able to teach someone what I knew and say, hey, I learned these lessons, take them and grow from them. And even today, I still make sure that I take note of lessons learned. There's always all types of lessons. It could be a financial lesson, it could be a contract lesson, it could be a technical lesson, but there's lessons to be learned constantly. And if we're not open to learning and growing, then we're never going to advance, and we're never going to develop, and we're never going to multiply. And I think that that's the goal for everyone, not just to be a one-man show, but to grow their business and expand their business. And the best way to do that is training people up and teaching, and
Yeah,
also be open to learn and develop yourself. So that's
a
so
hundred
good.
percent, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I definitely did. I definitely learned something new every time I speak with all of my guests. I learn. I hope, Annette, you had a good time as well. Was really great to share your story, and I would love to continue this conversation, of course, right now that we are in contact. But guys, if you like the episode, subscribe right here, and I see you on the next episode of Constructive Future. Let's go.